Secretary of Defense Mark Esper, en route to Australia, discussed it with reporters.
Let's face it, Russia's been
I can see you, but can you
many years, going back to the Obama administration, and maybe beyond that.
And today in Russia, police detained 600 protesters at an unsanctioned election protest.
It's weird because
in
when I respond back to you, it says there's an error,
beach
but I can
near
see you.
San Diego is closed after a deadly cliff collapse on Friday killed 3 people in Encinitas. And authorities in Northern California say the man who opened fire at a food festival last weekend died of a self-inflicted gunshot. You're listening to ABC News.
A Kentucky man facing misdemeanor assault charges for his actions in a viral video from President Trump's campaign rally Thursday.
He was caught on video Thursday punching a 61-year-old man several times. Now 29-year-old Dallas Frazier has been arraigned on misdemeanor assault charges and given $10,000 bond. In the video, Frazier was seen getting out of a red pickup truck near U.S. Bank Arena, and then he started taking shots at an anti-Trump protester with police nearby. He was handcuffed immediately after. The victim suffered facial injuries and broken glasses. Frazier's from Georgetown, Kentucky, but he says he was not in town for the president's speech. He entered a plea of not guilty.
Rick Uccino reporting. The Westchester truck driver charged with killing his wife and her family has been extradited from Connecticut. The suspect, 37-year-old Gurpreet Singh, called 911 to say he found the victims' bodies.
My wife and my family are bleeding. Your wife and your family are doing what?
On the ground, bleeding. He's on the docket to be arraigned on 4 counts of aggravated murder Monday. Police say he killed his wife of 17 years, her parents, and sister at the lakefront at Westchester apartment complex April 28th. Food left on the stove indicates the police the family was preparing dinner when they were shot. They reportedly have 3 children together who were not there at the time of the killing. Singh is being held without bond in Butler County Jail and would face the death penalty if convicted. A police officer being credited for saving a man and his dog.
A Maumee police sergeant was the first to arrive on the scene of a mobile home fire just after midnight Thursday. He used a fire extinguisher to put out flames before the fire department got there. The officer then helped the man, who had mobility issues, and his dog safely evacuate. I'm Rob Bailey.
And if you're looking for work in Dayton, cut out the cigarettes. The city will no longer hire people who flunk pre-employment tests for tobacco and nicotine. I'm Kyle Cornell.
Filling your news feed with the top trending news at the top and bottom of the hour. Columbus's news is on News Radio 610 WTBN.
Looking to buy a car? Online shopping can be confusing. Not anymore with True Price from TrueCar. Now you can know the exact price you'll pay for the car you want and see what other people paid for it too. When you're ready to buy a new or used car, visit TrueCar to enjoy a more confident car buying experience.
Hey, look at this.
Why are you on your phone? We have dinner reservations.
I'm getting a quote for life insurance from Ethos. Just look.
Wow.
I'll shoot you a message.
I thought it would be more expensive.
A friend told me about Ethos.
Just to let
it's
you know
a
I'm
new,
here.
straightforward kind of term life insurance that offers policies for any budget. Let's do an estimate for you.
Do we have time?
You just answer 4 simple questions to get an instant quote.
These are easy questions.
And there's the instant quote.
Seriously? That was really fast.
I know, right? And the online application only takes about 10 minutes. No pushy agents. And in most cases, no medical exams. It's perfect for us.
Can we apply right now?
Why not? And after dinner, maybe we can celebrate.
You know what? Ethos is perfect for us.
Ethos is ethical term life insurance. Straightforward and super fast. Don't put it off. Go to ethoslife.com for a free instant quote now. ETHOSlife.com. That's ethoslife.com.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Good afternoon. Welcome to On Target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility. That's located at 999 Bethel Road, just west of 315. I'm your host, Eric, along with my father, Phil. Okay, guys, tell me what you think of this. Okay? I'm trying to look globally at this and not make any judgment. But if you saw a post that I recently saw myself that said this, don't let Russia interfere with 2020. Reasonable, right? Because there was something here that they came out that said, you know, Russia had a part in the last election. So don't let Russia interfere with 2020. I don't have a problem with that.
Well, no.
The next line says demand voter ID, which I don't really have a problem with that.
I don't either.
Yeah,
you know,
be a citizen to vote. So
right. So it doesn't seem all that outrageous. That,
driver's license, state ID,
right,
whatever. Yeah.
But get this: one of our employees posted that. It was like a little meme, a little picture on his personal Twitter account this week. You ready for this, guys? Banned for life from Twitter.
For saying
what?
We need IDs to vote, and that he doesn't want Russia to interfere with the 2020 elections.
For life. He showed me. Banned for life. Now, they did give him an out that if he removed the post within 12 hours, they would make the suspension, I think, only 2 weeks long.
Who is making those calls there at Twitter? I mean, someone needs to step on them or just put them out of business or whatever,
Banned for life. Can you for that? I mean, he wasn't inciting violence. He wasn't any of this stuff. So if you don't think for a second that this stuff is being filtered and censored and so forth, it is.
I mean, that's crazy. I mean, just whatever happened to freedom of speech? I know it's a private organization, but I'm stumped. I'm just stunned.
The ironic part about this story is the gentleman who posted this is probably one of the nicest people we have on our staff, and he was a little. And I mean, the man doesn't do anything wrong. In law enforcement, he was a little bit upset that this. I'm thinking,
I mean that's all I said. There were no pictures with it. There's nothing negative. He just said, hey,
it was part of a picture. I mean, it was a meme,
but there's not a picture.
Right, exactly.
It was a kind of a message picture, and wow.
Yep.
I saw it, and I was just absolutely astounded.
Any more things that go on around this country, I basically have just thrown in the towel. I mean, it's just ridiculous, some of the obvious things that are said, that occur, that nobody really wants to talk about when it's really completely out of the ordinary or it's not the right thing, and you don't want to call them out on it.
Yep, it's crazy. It is crazy.
It's crazy.
But we are the owners of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility Interactive Law Enforcement. But for 1 hour on Saturdays, we put together a group of firearm experts to discuss new products in the market, training tips, and oftentimes political topics surrounding the Second Amendment. Our commitment, though, is to always bring you the facts about our industry and ultimately help our listeners and customers with safe, responsible ownership of firearms. I wanted to thank Rick from Rampart from last week. What a wonderful, he has so much information when it comes to cybersecurity.
We need to get him back on here again.
We do.
So he is a wealth of information, so we really appreciate it.
Yes, we wanted to give him a shout out, thank him again. Guys, the last time you were in the market for a firearm, I shouldn't even ask this table. The last time you were in the market for a firearm, did you consider a used firearm? Bubba, I don't think you bought a new one.
I haven't consider anything but a used firearm.
I haven't bought a new firearm in ages. I always look for a used one.
Do you realize that almost 20% of our over 1,000 firearms in inventory today are actually used? And so today we're going to talk about, are they worth considering? And what do you do to look for a good used firearm? What are some of the things to look for? And that's going to be the topic today. And you have a great group around the table to talk about this, because that's all we do is look at,
oh, hey, Dad, look at this, Dad. Look at this gun that came in.
I haven't said that today.
Well, most, I can't say most. A lot of the firearms that come in used only have maybe 50 rounds through them.
There is a lot out there that are like new.
I mean, they're not even broken in.
You wouldn't even really know that they're used.
Yeah.
That's how good. And we had a question this morning, JC, on one that we had out there listed on Gunbroker. And other than one subtle little handling mark, you wouldn't know that it was a used firearm.
I read firearms are meant to be fired tens of thousands of times. One of my friends has documented 130,000 rounds through his 1911. I mean, he's had some changes in springs and things, 130,000 competition. The average person, and I read this many years ago, average gun owner only shoots about 5,000 rounds out of that gun in a lifetime, if you're just on the average. So these are great deals. Some of them are even broken in.
Yep. Well, and when we get to it, guys, you'll have to speak directly to Rob, because he's listening today and he's looking for a good used J-frame. Pablo, you have one?
None that I want to get rid of. And also, just to put a little caveat out there, is that you can come in and you can dicker on the price a little bit.
Well,
did I say that out loud?
Well, but guess what? And now you're getting this. Have you read the script?
No.
We'll talk about what to look for in buying a used gun
there
today.
You go.
So, there you go.
His own father sold me a gun, bulge in the barrel.
Pawpaw.
Oh, yeah.
Sits to my left.
Oh, yeah.
He's my father. Did you see our email blast from last night?
I did not.
You might have. Oh, you didn't?
Well, what time you sending out? I go to bed at 8 o'clock.
It was a little bit after that.
Okay.
So it is, we talked about the back-to-school sale and stuff, but did you see, now guys, this is really, really neat. And we've talked about this for a long time, and I'm so excited that we got this to work out. We're going to start a Handgun 101, which is one of our staple classes for people who are just trying to get into firearms or maybe who just wanted to shoot a gun for the first time.
Or brush up.
Or
you
brush
haven't
up.
fired one in a while, yeah.
But do you know we now offer a Handgun 101 given in Chinese?
There you go. That's not like takeout. That's actually Chinese, the language. So
So we have, being in close proximity to Ohio State, we have a lot of students that come in and who honestly in their country aren't used to seeing firearms. And
not unless they're being pointed at. Yeah.
Right. So we identified a need there. I mean, we have them in, and it's hard to get them on the range. There's a language barrier.
Well, I could have given that class, Eric.
Huh? Well, you should have.
The same thing that I used to do when I was out on the cruiser making traffic stops.
You talked louder, didn't you?
You talk louder.
Yeah, there you go. That solves everything. So this is given by a Chinese instructor.
Yeah.
The whole class is in Chinese. That's great.
Well, and it's neat because it's just not an instructor who happens to speak Chinese. Chinese is his native language, but he happens to be a professor at Ohio State.
Oh,
so he's used to.
So he knows how to instruct.
Exactly, and we are so excited. Matter of fact, if you go out to our webpage today, when you go under that class, it pops it up in Chinese. I mean, it's neat. So it's great. It's going to be a great opportunity to spread. Many of these students end up staying here and to get them acclimated and into the shooting sport and doing it the right way. So we're very excited about that.
Does he happen to be an NRA instructor?
He is an NRA instructor.
Oh, so
he went through our class recently.
So he can actually walk the talk, like WOK.
There you
go. So
here we go.
If you missed the show, you can always catch the podcast. It's at 610WTVN.com. It's also on iTunes, Google Podcasts. Facebook is a great place to watch it. We're still getting that sound up and running, but it seems to be fairly stable. We had a little blurb this morning, but it's a great place to watch it. You can see the guns of the week. You can see everything sitting right out here on the table. You can give us a call anytime, though. 614-821-9886 is the number, and get right through to us. Ask us a question about anything firearms related. And Instagram is a great place. Our marketing team is really diligent about putting any used items or any new unique items that we get in out there on Instagram. So it's a great place to follow us and check those things out. JC, it is time for the news. What do you got?
All right, well, a lot of stuff. Here's a big one that could have a major impact, at least on a company. Remington Firearms, in March, the Connecticut Supreme Court overturned a lower court ruling that threw out a lawsuit against Remington that was filed by the parents of Sandy Hook. And if you remember that horrible tragedy where that crazy 20-year-old shot and killed 20 first graders and six educators, and then before he killed himself. So the parents have filed a suit against Remington just for selling that type of a firearm. Well, lower court had dismissed the suit in Connecticut because there is the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act. That's a United States law that protects firearms manufacturers when people misuse their products. But the state Supreme Court in Connecticut, however, ruled that they overruled that and are now allowing this lawsuit to go against Remington. So that act protects makers and sellers of firearms who are, again, as I mentioned, that the products are subsequently used in the commission of a crime to be protected because they don't have any control over that. Well, this guy, if you remember, he actually didn't have the gun. He couldn't legally get it, but he killed his mother, who legally owned the gun, to get the gun to go into the school and do this, and then he killed himself. So the lawsuit, here's where they got their way around it. The attorneys, the plaintiff attorneys said that, well, it wasn't the PLCAA Act they're arguing against, but the suit was based on violation of Connecticut state law regarding unfair trade practices. Now get this. I mean, this is the verbiage is pretty important here. The lawsuit said that the companies were wrong to entrust an untrained civilian in public with a weapon designed for maximizing fatalities in the battlefield. Lawyers pointed out advertising with messages that were put out there from Remington of combat dominance and hypermasculinity, that's their terminology, that resonated and disturbed young men could be induced to use this weapon. So that is what they're going after. So Remington is now immediately have to appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. Whether the United States Supreme Court will hear it or not, that remains to be seen. But if this goes wrong against them, I mean, this guy killed someone to get their gun, and that's why it's gone forward in Connecticut.
John, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
With all the gun controls that the liberals want to put in place, would they ever stop that?
Well, of course not. He killed someone to get this, but that's not their intent. They're going to want to try to bankrupt a company.
You know what? I was on with Blazer earlier this week and stuff. I think we just need to outlaw murder.
We should make it against the law.
I mean, if we make that against the law, I'm thinking it might.
And let's make it a serious law, a felony. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's pretty crazy.
Guys,
pretty crazy.
It's time for break, but when we get back, we're going to get to JC's Gun of the Week. We're on target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break.
The news you want to know.
Democrats attacking Barack Obama.
I was a little surprised about Barack.
You invoke President Obama.
That was President Obama.
There is this mismatch between frustration and anger.
They're being exposed.
The Democratic Party is a mess.
The news.
The Russians violate the INF Treaty.
You need to know.
With intermediate range missiles that are nuclear tipped.
Check in often.
Raise tariffs on Chinese goods.
Another 10% tariff.
A strike has been averted between the Columbus City schools and the teachers.
News Radio 610.
WTVN.
What if I told you there was a way to step into another gear for your brain and be much sharper, more focused, and improve your memory to a level that you could only dream about, and notice these results in 30 minutes? Hard to believe? Neuroscientists are calling this new brain discovery the biggest advancement in brain science to date. It's called Limitless, the brain pill of the future. Take it, and within 30 minutes, you'll transport your mind to a new level of focus and clarity you would have never thought possible.
I took Limitless, and it started working in minutes. All of a sudden, it felt like a dark cloud had been lifted up right before my eyes. I have a mental clarity I've never felt before.
Biz execs, athletes, teachers, and students are calling Limitless a secret weapon for the brain. You have nothing to lose, so call now and find out how to get a free bottle today.
Find out how to get a free bottle of Limitless. Call
1-800-617-1604.
800-617-1604. Free bottles for a limited time. Call now. 800-617-1604.
All right. Hey, I see your messages to me, but for some reason I can't message you back. So I'm watching you if you say something.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure. I'm paranoid that way.
I know
on
it.
the planet. Bigger guests, bigger laughs, bigger Ron.
Next thing you know, people were taking their clothes off, and it got wild.
Binge Season 1 of the Ron Burgundy Podcast, now on the free iHeartRadio app.
Season 2 of the Ron Burgundy Podcast drops August 8th. Find the Ron Burgundy Podcast on the iHeartRadio app. Season 2, baby.
iHeartRadio.
Say goodbye to those good days. Look alive and change your ways. It's summertime. No more studying history and no more reading.
You got to him, didn't you? You got to him. I tell you what.
It's summertime.
It's been a long time since I've heard that one. What a great.
Thank you, Bob.
Welcome back to OnTarget. You somehow, sometimes you can't even remember my number to give me a call, but you always get linked into these guys to get your song, don't you?
I texted Emily last night.
Yep.
Because I have to do that nowadays.
Right.
And she advised me that she wasn't working today.
That's right.
So I got the Bob.
There you go.
You don't
We're
worry
on
about that.
Target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility located at 999 Bethel Road. I'm Eric. I'm the host, along with JC from the sales team. My father, co-owner Phil, sits to my left. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you get to see. We got a lot of stuff on the table today, guys. There's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff.
I'm looking at the camera angle here, and there's just a lot of stuff.
We got stuff. We got stuff everywhere.
There's stuff everywhere. So, JC, we were talking before we went into the break about potentially being able to sue these gun manufacturers. And I was thinking during the break, especially in the Sandy Hook case, the guy steals a rifle and then goes and does this heinous act.
He kills someone in order to steal the rifle.
So. Right. So how is that any different than the thug on the street stealing a car and going and killing someone in the act of a chase or whatever? Why aren't we suing Ford?
They don't want to ban cars. They want to pick out
I don't
their
understand.
Little, yeah.
I mean,
it's all the same.
It is. I mean, that logic would be, and the last I saw, when you watch those ads for cars, they show them on a racetrack. You see, they want you to think that when you climb into that car, that you're going to be like the race car driver.
Right.
So I don't understand this logic.
Yeah.
It's just craziness. Hey, talking about something fun though, August 21st. Mark your calendars. It's a Wednesday. You had that, Papa? August 21st.
Yeah.
We are going to bring back, it's been a while since we've done this, the Capital City Cigar Club is having their event here.
Oh, wow.
It is going to be really neat. Yeah, they're going to set up outside. There's going to be drinks, I hear. There's going to be shooting, of course, not at the same time.
Not at the same time.
Right,
After the shooting, there is the drinking.
There you go.
After.
But I believe it goes from 6 to 9 or 6 to 9:30 that they were going to stay open a little bit late. It's really, really neat. And you can I think you can register on our Facebook page to go to their site. But if not, we'll have that up today. So something really neat to watch for.
Are we going to have any raffles?
During that, I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I don't know. But I tell you what, they have cigars. They have a lot of cigars. They have
I
drinks.
gave up smoking yesterday. So
Did you? Just yesterday?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
JC, Gun of the Week time. You have 2 out there that I see.
Yeah, we have.
What do you got?
We're doing used guns. We're doing this special sale today and tomorrow where we're eating the sales tax. So that's a used guns, 7.5% off on those. So because of that, because we have such a big selection, and honestly, I came up with one. I came up with a handgun, came up with a long gun. Which one do you want to do? And the bottom line is, let's do both of them. So we have 2 guns of the week, and they're both really interesting. That people know me know I'm into the historic aspect of it. I did find this one totally by accident when I was doing some research on the gun today. One of the guns that we have is a Colt. Da-da-da-da. And when you first look at it from a distance, you say, yeah, they're typical 1911 Colt. Looks like GI type, except it's a little bit bigger. And the reason is because it is the Colt Delta Elite in 10 millimeter. So it is a large gun, but for us who love the 1911, it is a wonderful, wonderful style. Well, I happen to find out that this year is the 30th anniversary of the introduction of the Colt Delta Elite. And
30 years?
30 years ago.
Wow.
So, it's a modified series. When they came out with it, it was released in 1987. So it's a Series 80. It does have the firing pin block. Some people don't like it, but believe me, there are a lot of people winning championships with that. So it's not really maybe a personal preference, but there's nothing wrong with the firing pin block. Anyway, this gun was produced. It was the first major gun company to produce a 10 millimeter gun. People remember the Sonny Crockett and the Bren 10 back in Miami Vice days when it came out. That was really a small production, and they hadn't really kind of tamed the metallurgy back then, and they were getting, I remember I worked at a store part-time at that time, and we were getting them back with cracked frames just after a little bit of use, because it's a very powerful cartridge. But Colt has remedied that in their gun. Just due to a kind of a lack of sales, it kind of dropped off. They actually pulled it from production in 1996. But it was reintroduced at the 2008 SHOT Show, and so in 2009, in March 31st of 2009, it was back on the market. But it was 30 years ago it was introduced. It's an extremely powerful cartridge. Some people call it just slightly less than a 41 Magnum revolver cartridge. It's it is less than that, but it's a very powerful handgun cartridge. So,
John, you going to pass that around a little bit? You're just going to hang on to it.
So the new one, how do you tell a new one from one of the old ones? It's got what they call the Raoul hammer. Raoul, R-O-W-E-L, Raoul. And it's like a commander size, so it's just got the hole in there. It does have wraparound, nice rubber grips, and it's got their Delta symbols on there. Stainless steel, and it's just really, it's a wonderful, wonderful gun. But the 10 millimeters really having a resurgence. Everyone said, it's going to die. A lot of companies have them.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful gun. So happy 30th anniversary.
So, JC, the other one, you have 1 minute.
1 minute, okay. It's gun. We have it as a used gun because it was previously owned, but it had never been fired. I don't think I won a raffle or what he did with it.
Yeah.
But this is the Ruger Precision Rifle. Precision long-range rifle shooting has really stepped up in the last 10 years, and the rifles can be quite expensive. I have friends that have them in the $4,000 to $6,000 range for their rifles, custom. Ruger said, we can put one out there, guaranteed sub a minute of angle, which means they're getting groups with this, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch at 100 yards guaranteed. It is adjustable in so many different ways. You can't even, the stock canters, as you can see if you're looking online here, the cheek piece moves up and down to fit your head. You can move the buttstock back, and again, you can can it 9 degrees left or right to get you the proper fit. It comes with 2 10-round magazines. It's got a giant bolt on it, and I have to show you this because a lot of people don't even know it does this. In order to do the stock adjustment, if you can see here, the stock actually folds in half on the back in order for you to adjust the stock and also to remove the bolt. So, and a lot of AR components, including the hand grip and a lot of the things on here, fit on this a precision rifle.
That is
at $1,200 compared to just the $4,000 guns. I mean, they're been sold out everywhere. This happens to be in 308, the one we have.
And it's here. And it's 7.5% off today.
7.5%.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Good guns of the week. JC, when we come back, we're going to talk about more used firearms, how to pick out that good used one. We're going to talk about revolvers, good used revolvers as well. We're on Target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms Range. Be back after the news.
Best prices of the year on all rings this weekend at Diamonds Direct.
You guys are clear.
It's here. Diamonds Direct's legendary summer ring event. Extra savings on thousands of rings. All wedding bands on sale. All eternity bands on sale. All colored gemstone rings on sale. Plus thousands and thousands of engagement ring settings on sale for this incredible event. Lowest prices plus special financing up to 48 months. Ring designers are here too. All new styles on sale. It's happening Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Diamonds Direct
on Polaris Parkway.
Treat yourself to never having to replace your garage floor again. It's Mark Blazer for my friends at Naturestone. Go to naturestone.com to schedule your free in-home estimate. Naturestone solves problems. Stop dealing with cracked, pitted, uneven garage floors. It's dangerous. Eliminate the danger with Naturestone. No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Naturestone brand floor. Get Naturestone installed in your home by the end of August and get up to 50% off. Like my friend Mike says, it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Naturestone.
News, traffic, and weather for Columbus. News Radio 610, WTVN.
In an effort to encourage healthier workplaces and curb the city's health costs, Dayton officials say the southwestern Ohio city will no longer hire people who flunked pre-employment tests for tobacco and nicotine. The city taking the same route as some private companies in the area who have already had the policy in place and have seen good results. The Westchester truck driver charged with killing his wife and her family has been extradited from Connecticut. The suspect, 37-year-old Gurpreet Singh, called 911 to say he found the victims' bodies.
Yesterday, my wife and my family are on the ground. Your wife and your family are doing what? They're on the ground.
He is on the docket to be arraigned on 4 counts of aggravated murder Monday. And FC Cincinnati will begin next year's ticket renewal process Monday. The renewal period closes by August 30th. I'm Kyle Cornell.
Hi, this is Larry Park, sales manager at Columbus Mobility Specialist. For over 15 years, we've been helping disabled veterans. If you're a disabled vet, we'll help you complete the VA paperwork for grants to secure a handicap van for you and any driving equipment you may need. Find out how you can get $1,000 towards a new VMI van purchase. At Columbus Mobility Specialist, financing options are available. You can reach us at 614-825-8996 or at columbusmobility.com for more info.
Gets to be this time of year, it's nice to have
On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studio. My father, co-owner Phil, sits to my left, JC to my right. Guys, we here on the show, we talk about new guns that we see every day, but there is a large segment of our business that is worth mentioning, and that is the used firearm market. It is enormous, and there are so many neat things out there, neat deals, and it's just because it's used doesn't mean that it's old. I mean, there's a lot of modern things, and you'd be surprised at how often we have a used firearm sitting right there beside the new one. I mean, we get a lot of them in.
A lot of them.
Yeah. Whether it be somebody just didn't work out for them, or they bought it for their wife, or an estate sale or whatever. So oftentimes, especially some of the more popular new guns, we have a used one sitting beside it. And the neat thing about it is oftentimes when someone's getting rid of it, they're getting rid of the holsters and they bought a laser for it. And so some of these used firearms are, beyond just what comes in the box. You have extra mags with it, all kinds of neat stuff.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we have probably 3 or 4 over there right now that have lasers and lights on them.
Yeah.
A couple $100 laser lights on them.
Absolutely. And there they are, just sitting there. Yeah.
So we thought today we'd take a step back and help people out there listening. If you've never bought a used firearm, or maybe you've never considered one, what to look for. That's a key thing, because if you're not in this every day, you're a little apprehensive. It's like going to go buy a used car.
Well, yeah, it's a little different, but that is the same thing. And we get a lot from a sales standpoint. We get a lot of people that want to shy away from them, and I say, look, you don't know the opportunity and the money that you're saving and the extra stuff that you're getting. And, with the used automobile, there's a lot of stuff that can happen. But a firearm usually is not fired that much, and we have many that have never been fired at all.
Right, and you stand to save. And the other neat thing, too, is sometimes on some of these newer, kind of some of the higher-end firearms, you actually, there's a break-in period. So you save a little bit by buying a used one that maybe has a couple hundred rounds, through it. So, there's a lot to be said. So let's start with revolvers. JC, you have Pawpaw, and I know Rob out there is considering a used revolver. You pick up a used revolver. What are some of the things that you wanna consider?
Is it John or me?
Either one. Yeah. I mean, you're kind of revolver man.
Right. Well, that's what I assume. That's why the revolver's on my side.
Yeah.
One of the things I look for is how is the plate that's in the cylinder. Okay,
cylinder lockup is very important.
Yeah, and you check that you can check it two ways. You cock back the hammer, that means it's ready to fire, and then you check the play in the cylinder, because that needs to lock. Because if it doesn't lock and it has a little bit of play either way, you're going to shave lead. And the other way is pull the trigger after you check it
with permission.
With permission,
we have guns that we can't do that
and now this one here that I have, I mean, this thing is locked tight. This is great.
And another important thing, when you do that, when you cock it to check that, hold the trigger back. You may have mentioned that, but I'll tell you some of the great deals I've gotten on Colts where people cock the gun, the cylinder wobbles like crazy. But once it's cocked and you pull that trigger back, it locks up like a bank vault. So
really? I didn't know that part.
No, you need to. That's what you need to do. Colts are especially familiar with that one. Anyway, too much movement suggests wear, and you may want to look elsewhere versus having a gunsmith, replace the cylinder bolt.
So I always look on the. I look at the thumb release and see how well that's attached and whether it actually releases the cylinder.
And look, I have just a whole list of things here. Number one is cosmetics. A lot of people avoid the police guns. Police guns don't get fired at all, but they get carried all the time.
Yeah,
so just because bluing is wear or in the stainless, you get some shiny spots and little nicks and stuff. That gun may have only had 400 rounds through the whole thing in its lifetime.
Yep.
So what Columbus is, what are they shooting, about 25 rounds a year requalifying? Or
right,
50 or
not
something?
a ton.
Nothing. So you want to look at that. Excessive wear will decrease the value, but doesn't mean the gun's not mechanically perfect and will serve you for a lifetime. Muzzle is very important. You don't want any nicks in the end of the muzzle. It's the last thing the bullet touches when it leaves. Those are usually caused by people using rods that they're jamming back and forth in the muzzle of the revolver to clean it, and you don't want that because that can destroy the action, and you may have to have your barrel recrowned or cut down. The crane, the crane is what the cylinder rotates on. You want to make sure that that's not loose and sloppy. A guy came in here just, last week or a couple weeks ago, and he goes, here's a gun he wanted to trade in. He opened it up. Someone had removed the screw returning it. So as he opened it up, the crane fell on the floor and the cylinder rolled across.
Is that not good?
That is not a good thing. So easily replaced with the right screw. But you want to check that out if you're buying it. Make sure that when you open it and close it, that the crane, sometimes called a yoke, should move freely without binding. The cylinder, you can check the use on the cylinder. We call it the wedding ring, right in the back of the cylinder where the little notches are. If you see if you can run your fingernail across there and it's catching on there, that gun has been fired a whole lot. I probably would look elsewhere because that may need a cylinder replacement. But you see a line, we call it wedding ring, but if it's deep enough to catch your fingernail, you may want to avoid that. Other thing, make sure that the ejection rod goes freely. In the old days, they had guns that didn't have shrouds. If you dropped it and bent that, you couldn't eject the gun. Very important that you want to take a look at that. Look and see if it's been cleaned. Some of the forcing cones where the bullet jumps into, if you see a lot of dirt and buildup, and you can see some of that in this particular gun. So, and make sure when you cock it, like you said, that it does lock up. That little hand that moves that around. You want to make sure that that's sharp and that it feels good. And to check the firing pin, most of the firing pins are internal now, but some of the old days, you can, with permission, cock the gun, stick a pencil. We always look at guns. We carry a pencil with an eraser on it, drop it down the barrel, and when you pull that trigger, it won't go, most guns don't shoot it out of the whole barrel, but you can see if that firing, if the firing pin is functioning. So those are just some of the things that you can do on a revolver. So.
John, you missed one important one.
Well, the barrel, the bore.
Check for a bulge in the barrel.
Oh, yeah, you have that one. But you do want to look down the barrel and bring a bore light with you to see if it's been cleaned, that the rifling is sharp. That is kind of what you want to look for. So that's the internals are
and
very important.
There's something else, too. If you buy a used firearm from us, we're going to back it.
Yeah.
So if there's something we missed or there's something there, we're going to make sure that it's good. And if there's an issue, we are going to back you on that. The other thing, too, is that if you're checking out a revolver, and this is just a little pet peeve, and Popo, you probably know what I'm going to say and stuff, don't spin the cylinder like you're at the roulette table. That's not a good thing to do. It's not a good thing to do for your own guns, let alone a gun that you're considering.
And don't snap it shut like you see on
Absolutely,
TV.
Don't snap it shut.
And,
you shouldn't do that.
No,
man.
So those are hard on the crane.
Every time I try to do that, the bullets fly out.
There you go. Not on TV, but you're true. That's accurate.
So revolver, and you know what? Ask us. I mean, we have a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. And if you're looking at, we have some really, really old revolvers here. And so some of those start to get into a collector value in them and stuff.
We have some from the 1800s.
Right. So there's all, we will definitely help you, look at that and stuff. So, guys, we have the revolvers covered pretty much. Semi-auto. You're bringing a lot more into it now, a lot more moving parts, a lot of different things that can go wrong. JC, rattle off a couple of the things to look for if you're looking at a used semi-auto for yourself.
Well, once again, I always look at cosmetics because I kind of like collectability with it, but so look for, nicks and chips, make sure you can tell if it's been dropped or been damaged or if the sights are now no longer straight on the back. So look for excessive wear just to see. And again, little wear, police guns especially, are great. The muzzle, it's the same thing. It's the last thing the bullet touches. You want to make sure that there are no scratches or residue build up on the end of the muzzle. Nicks and things can be detrimental to accuracy. The barrel. Now, the barrel is covered by a slide on most semi-automatics. Pull that back and look. The wedding ring, which we still call a wedding ring, we talked about the one on the cylinder. This one is at the end of the barrel where the bushing locks up. If it's been dropped in the sand or has dirt on there that has scratched all the way down the inside of the barrel, I honestly would, look around going, this gun has not been really maintained very well, or someone has misused it. If you see the scratches along the barrel, but at the very end where it locks up, you will see some wear there. I mean, it's natural. That's where it keeps the bullet or the barrel from moving back and forth. So take a look for excessive wear there. We still do the firing pin check on that, where we, with permission, after, make sure everything is empty and with permission from the owner or with us in the store, cock the gun, stick the pencil down there. That way you can tell if there's positive contact with the firing pin on the end of the eraser in there. So when you look at the barrel, make sure, again, just like a revolver, that it's a little easier to look at in a semi-automatic, that it's clean, that there's that the rifling is sharp, and that it's there's not excessive wear there. Some guns have a decocker. Make sure you check the safeties. Now, we didn't talk about that in a revolver because there really isn't a safety on most revolvers. There's locks, but on a semi-automatic, not feeding correctly. Right. So but that's easily replaced and as replaced with standard maintenance anyway down the line. So check that. Look at the, just look around. If you have questions, we can, on a used gun, we'll take them apart. New guns, we don't, but on a used gun, we'll help take it apart.
And here's the beautiful thing, too, JC. You mentioned about sometimes, you don't know until you shoot them. Our used guns, we have a deal where you can take them up and shoot them. You pay just the rental gun fee, but if you end up buying it, we'll refund your money.
And
so
if you don't, then we have to take it apart and clean it and get it back ready again.
Right,
That's why
exactly.
you pay the rental fee. But that's and it's a beautiful thing. Now we don't take $2,000 guns out there and just rent them for $15 for that. But we really inspect the stuff. But almost everything we have that's used, you can take up and give it a shot, literally, and we'll take the money off for the rental. So
yeah, that's great. And I tell you, one of the things too that I'm looking on my list here. Signs that the gun's been apart before. I mean, really, one of the guns we looked at today had like a little mark where they put the slide stop back in. Yeah. Those are little things you can see. If the person before you took care of it, then it will show. Yeah. And if they have the original box, I mean, sometimes if they come in with the original box, the original paperwork, and it looks, like it's new, that adds value to it. So don't throw your boxes away, and it's all part of the value.
An important point you brought up, look at the screws. If you see them all boogered up, that means somebody's been in there monkeying around in one way or another, and oftentimes people want to sell guns that they've screwed up and just want to move them on. Happens at gun shows, happens at gun stores
right.
too.
When we come back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit more about how to evaluate a good used firearm. We're going to get to rifles and shotguns, and we're going to talk about some of our favorite ones that we have here today. If you have a question, 614-821-9886 is the number. Love to hear from you. On Target, broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms and Range.
Join 610 WTVN at the Fedora Ball, presented by Legacy Retirement Group and Heartland Bank on Friday, August 23rd at Hollywood Casino.
We're still
celebrate
sitting at 80.
the legacy of the late coach
Our
Earl
heart out
Bruce
is
and help raise money to
57.40.
fight Alzheimer's disease. Enjoy an evening filled with food, drinks, and silent and live auctions. Plus special guest speaker Kim Campbell, wife to music legend Glenn Campbell, outlines the complex challenges faced by people living with dementia. Then dance the night away or hit the casino to round out the Fedora Ball. Proceeds go to the Earl and Jean Bruce Alzheimer's Research Fund at The Ohio State University. Purchase your tickets now at 610WTVN.com.
Hey, it's Matt McCoy, and boy, have our air conditioners been cranking this summer, and that's even more costly when you've got old leaky windows. Take care of that now by calling my guys at Universal Windows Direct. The windows are the most energy efficient on the market, featuring Unishield high-performance glass and NASA-developed super spacer technology. And you know the deal. Buy one window, get the next free with no limits, 0% financing for 36 months, plus a true lifetime warranty. The number to call, 614-221-0700, or go online at universalwindowsdirect.com. Universal Windows Direct. I love my windows.
When you call the Basement Doctor, you know you've called the right place. Our certified project managers will help solve the worst problems in your basement or crawl space, and our experienced and well-trained crews will carry out the repair, leaving you with a drier, cleaner, healthier, safer, more energy-efficient home. Ohio has trusted the Basement Doctor since 1987, and you can too. Call me now at 877-DRIVE-TIME.
What temperature you got there, sir?
basementdoctor.com.
Your ABC6 first warning weather, mostly sunny and still hot for today, high of 87. Tonight, mostly clear and mild, low of 66. Sunday, staying sunny and hot with a slight chance of afternoon pop-up storms, high of 87. It is still 80 degrees. It's beautiful out there, though, on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Central Ohio's news, traffic, and weather station. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studios with my father, co-owner Phil. Sits to my left, John from the sales team. Sits to my right. You're more than just, I don't think just saying from the sales team does you. John, who knows everything about everything.
No,
I mean, really, the walking encyclopedia.
A pamphlet of information. That's
pamphlet. It's a big pamphlet, JC.
No, there's just a lot of stuff. If you have an interest in anything in life and you do it long enough, you gain some knowledge on it. So there you go.
So we're talking about used firearms and how to pick out a good used firearms. Talked about revolvers a little bit. Talked about semi-autos. How about if you're looking for a long gun?
we can. I mean, you can apply the same thing. Looking at the muzzle of anything and making sure that it's there. There are some differences that you want to take a look at in long guns and in shotguns and rifles. Some a little differently. I failed to mention you should get a bore light or make sure that you look at the bore with a bore light. Just don't glance down it. You can look through both ends, seeing if there's anything. Some especially older guns. I did buy a gun that was made in the 1800s. I still shoot it, but I had to have the barrel cut down because there was pitting up that from black powder that didn't get clean. So anyway, take a bore light with you. Okay, shotguns. If it's, I'm going to let Phil, because he actually did repair on police shotguns and did maintenance on those.
Yeah.
But on the double barrels, you want to make sure when it locks up that it locks up, that there's no wobble to it, that that the muzzles are straight. And the modern guns, if it does come with chokes, make sure that the chokes are all there, that you have those that can be screwed in the end to change the.
And you want to make
choking.
sure that the slide works well on the double barrel.
Yeah, according to Biden says when he racks the slide on his double-barreled shotgun, but that's Biden. No, but you want to take a look at that on the double barrels and make sure that the fitting and the screws work and the barrels drop and it comes apart easily. So for the double barrels, but. Yeah.
Guys, let's get to caller. Jonathan's on the line with us. Jonathan, you're on target. How are you?
How are you doing today?
We are great.
God bless you for everything you do as a police officer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, I remembered a story. It was on the Paul Harvey show, and I can't find the source. I've looked on the internet and looked on it. It was years ago he had this on. And it was a story about a man during World War II who was in the Battle of the Bulge, I believe. And in his M1 Garand he carried, he was in a situation where he thought he was going to die and he'd never see anyone or his family ever again. So he wrote a letter to himself and to his family, and he placed it in the buttstock area of the rifle, and he disassembled it, put the letter in there, sealed it up, and he felt that this was, if something happened to him, someday somebody would read this letter if he couldn't make it back home. Well, years goes by, he's an older man, and he decides, God, I wish I had an M1 Garand. He's in his 70s. And he orders a rifle. I think it's through the Fulton Armory program, the Camp Perry, where you can buy surplus rifles. And he ordered one there, and he gets the rifle, picked it up at the gun dealer, and he opens the box up and he looks at this thing and he picks it up, and my God, it's identical to the rifle he had. And he's looking the thing over; it had the same feel, the color of the rifle, the finish, just everything was familiar to him. The manufacturer. So he thought, what the hell? I'm going to take the buttstock apart. Could this be my rifle? He takes the buttstock apart, and sure enough, the letter is inside the buttstock of the rifle.
Wow.
That's those are really amazing incidences that happen. That has got to be very, very cool. So
you should play the lottery that day.
Yeah.
Holy Moses!
Wow,
that's
that would be great.
Something you were talking on used guns on AK-47 rifles. That's one that you can get into a real doozy. You know how they've had a lot of them imported here, where they redo the lower receiver so that it'll accept the magwell. Usually it's a single stack, and so they redo the lower receiver to where the magwell goes, where the magwell is. You want to check with a magazine to see if they flop around it, because in a lot of them they have they're not tight. They weren't cut properly. And a sure way on an AK to see if it's worth the damage to check it with a magazine.
Yeah,
right.
And
Jonathan, hey, thanks for giving us a call, Jonathan. Always good to hear from you.
Take care.
Yep, you too. Something that reminded me, though, Jonathan said that, was if you're looking at especially ARs are so popular these days. Matter of fact, next week we're going to talk about ARs. We're going to talk about entry-level ones and whether they're worth the money. But as a segue to that, if you're looking at a used AR, one thing to watch for is to see if it was a build. So a lot of times people buy a lower receiver and they put the pieces together, and our gunsmith makes a living out of fixing builds. So if it's a build, it dramatically reduces the value of it because there's no guarantee on it. There's no manufacturer to go back to, and honestly, if we take them in used, we're going to make note of that because there's no one to go back to. So it's kind of a buyer beware. I mean, we do as much as we can, make sure they fire. But it's a build, so it's
Sean,
something to watch for.
Had one the other day that was glued with super glue and epoxy, where they put the parts on with that on the inside. It was just, there's all sorts of stuff, but it looked on the outside looked fantastic. But
right, and we actually had two come in yesterday that on the surface you wouldn't think, but once you start looking, like, this isn't from the manufacturer like this. So, and that's something we can help with. That's another reason to be at a good, reputable store that can help you with those
but
decisions.
they're like erector sets for adults, and people can take them apart, put them together, do all sorts of things, and if they screw it up, then they want to sell it. So beware of those.
There's a lot of people that screw them up.
Yep, there are.
I mean, I don't know why someone wants to build a gun.
It is kind of neat. I mean, I don't.
Well, it's fun.
I've
done that for myself. Not
but
to make money
you get
selling
firearms from the manufacturer sometimes that have defects and doesn't work, and then you're going to build one yourself.
So last thing, guys, as we go into the final minute here. First of all, you want to see the show next week. It's going to be neat on the ARs. But if you guys are looking to buy me a good used firearm, this came in the door yesterday. Papa, look at this. Have you seen this?
A 59.
Is that the tactical?
This is a 3913 tactical. Look at the little tiny
Oh,
rail on that.
I didn't see it while you're holding it. Yeah, I said, okay, that's the 3913.
I think that's
a rare piece.
That was one of the first ones. I think that was one of the first ones that came out with the rail.
I think so. Yeah.
That's the rail has been drilled and attached to the bottom by the factory, and wow.
Right.
I mean,
so right there, guys, if you're looking for that last,
boy, that's a great gun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great so
gun.
right there, last minute. Beginning of August gift for me.
Beginning of August?
Lori's birthday's this week. It'd be great to buy me this for that.
Okay, all right.
1 minute.
So, and just as the final thing, as Jonathan said, check to make sure that magazines fit in the guns that you have. If it's a bolt action, make sure the bolt moves freely. That if it's got, any way to load it, make sure that the magazine tubes, if it's an old 22, are straight. You can pull them out. Those are common sense things we can help you with if you come here and want to go.
That's right.
Why is this a good gun? And we'll help you with that.
Great. Well, thanks for spending the last hour with us. Hopefully, we've helped a little bit on decisions to buy a used firearm. We got a bunch of them here.
7.5% this weekend. We're going to eat the tax this whole weekend on all of our used firearms and mace and our bulletproof backpacks, which stopped at 44. Magnum.
Yes.
It's a soft plate. It's not a plate.
20
it's
seconds.
Watch for that story coming out, JC.
Wow.
That's a good pitch for that because that is going to be a story that is going to be coming out on a local channel. So
this is new. This is a new gun.
I know it.
Wow.
Guys, have a great week. Stay cool out there. Enjoy the summer. I think the fair's still going on today. Go out there. It's a great time. Have a good week.
Bye-bye.
From the Elk and Elk Studios, if your child suffered a serious birth injury, call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. News Radio 610, WTVN.
There's a lot of people that focus on the economy every day, whether it's your personal economy, you're investing, you're looking at the macro economy of the globe. But, hey, let's just talk about it from a practical perspective. You want to diversify. A lot of people will check out gold and silver. And if you're thinking about gold and silver, maybe need a little information about adding
All right, you ready for the promos there, Bob?
Alan's Coin Shop.
I am.
Thank you.
They've got great inventory
on everything. Okay,
here
we
go. If you want
go.
to buy silver because
no sweat, my
it's
pleasure.
less expensive than gold, you can buy it.
This is Eric from OnTarget. This week we take a closer look at inexpensive ARs on the market, and I have the Gun of the Week sponsored by LEPD Training Facility. Tune in Saturday at noon or live from LEPD Studios on Bethel
Road. If the price
Road.
goes way up and you just want to cash out, it's easy to do at Allen's.
This is Eric from OnTarget. This week we take a closer look at inexpensive ARs on the market, and I have the Gun of the Week sponsored by LEPD Training Facility. Tune in tomorrow at noon or live from LEPD Studios on Bethel Road.
It's a collector's paradise, I promise. State Street and
This is Eric from OnTarget. Today we take a closer look at inexpensive ARs on the market, and I have the Gun of the Week sponsored by LEPD Training Facility. Tune in today at noon or live from LEPD Studios on Bethel Road.
More focused and improve your memory to a
All
level
right,
that
looks
you
good
can
on this
only
end.
dream about.
Awesome.